saze sajwayelwa on our soil. I sajwayelwa kabi. The disrespect that African leaders have on South Africa needs to be studied, and I choose Harvard University to study exactly what is up with African leaders. And when it comes to accountability, when it comes to facing realities of what exactly is happening, particularly in their respective countries. You know, as I was listening to the Pan-African Parliament, I would jump here and there, and the things that you hear coming from people that you have to ask, did you even finish school? Others are acting like psychiatrists and psychologists, basically standing at the podium and telling, I don't know who's listening to a Pan-African Parliament, and saying that South Africans are traumatized. South Africans are traumatized. Their trauma, it's only showing up now because of apartheid. And then I'm thinking, so if we are mentally ill, because that's what they're trying to do here, they're doing what you call reverse psychology. They know that where they come from, it is a known fact that their countries, a large population of their countries are mentally ill. And because they don't keep records, they don't do what you call this therapy and things of that nature, they assume that South Africa is like their countries where records are not kept, where people do not attend therapy, and people are just walking around in South Africa crazy because they got traumatized by apartheid. And this other one even said, we need to understand South Africans. They are traumatized. They are still healing from apartheid. But there's the question though. Traumatized people, aren't they supposed to be sitting in some corner, depressed and crying their lungs out on a daily basis and their country falling apart? But instead, you are having people from your country coming to this country for greener pastures that are being developed by the traumatized South Africans. Are they listening to themselves? And I'm saying this in the most politest of ways. These people have the art of yanking your heart when they speak. I don't know. It makes sense why the countries are the way they are, because politician to politician in their respective countries, that's what they do. They yank each other's hearts out whenever they have to talk about development. The other one is thinking about pocketing the money for his family and himself, for the people, so that the people do not get developed. Roads not built, infrastructure basically is not built. And then they come here and they psychoanalyze South Africans, completely miss the mark. South Africans, I don't know which part of resilience don't they understand about South Africans. We've been through a lot, that's true. But trauma? No. We faced, if we did not face things head on, maybe they might be right. But here we are. We are one of the most developed African countries on the continent. And people that are traumatized wouldn't have dared. So in other words, they're taking their own experiences as to why they are hamstrung, why they are paralyzed in developing their respective countries. So they come and throw that at us. And yet here we are. They are in Midrand, one of the most developed areas of Johannesburg. Instead of them getting inspired, no. Let's come and insult South Africans. And then another one gets up and says, South Africans, he says, we are extremely xenophobic. And then you have to ask yourself, if we are extremely xenophobic, why your people are here, why your people have been here since the 90s if we were xenophobic. We know what a coward you guys are. Had we stood up back then in the 90s, there will not be foreign nationals of any kind in South Africa. There wouldn't be. Because remember, xenophobia, when it is defined, it is the fear of foreigners. It doesn't say fear of illegal foreigners. It's just foreigners. No foreigner will be visiting South Africa ever. If we were, let alone them staying with us in our communities up until now, since the 1990s. And if we were xenophobic, why don't we have refugee camps? Because there are people that consider themselves as refugees right here in South Africa. Somalis, Ethiopians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Zimbabweans, you name them. They all have applied for asylum to refugee status. And if we were xenophobic, do you think they'll be running a rampage and running spaza shops in our communities? Do you think they'll be mingling and living in our communities? No, because you guys are the brain is just not functioning, and it doesn't comprehend what you are saying and what the reality on the ground is. And you call yourself a leader. Oh, guys, I could tell you stories upon stories about how these people feel about South Africa. One Nigerian lied, like flat out lied in the Pan-African Parliament. He says, when I landed in South Africa to come here to the Pan-African Parliament, literally less than 48 hours, I witnessed South African police killing 2 Nigerians. I'm sorry, words? Okay, at least it's South African. So he is trying to play, you know how they are victim players, right? Professional victims. So he is victim playing 2 people that he doesn't even know if they are Nigerian or South African or whatever, because he did not go there to find out, are they Nigerians? Are they what? No, he didn't. He assumed that they are Nigerian. Because, you know, the story out there, it must be heard that South African police are unaliving Nigerians, the most problematic people in South Africa. No, let me put it frankly. The most horrible, evil, and heartless, cold criminals are Nigerians in South Africa. So if they were Nigerians, surely they did something to the South African police service, because anywhere in the world, when you threaten a police officer anywhere in the world, I know it doesn't happen in Nigeria, because in Nigeria, for things to de-escalate, you just have to take out money and give to the police officer, and then you all go your merry way. That's how it's done in Nigeria. In South Africa, there's the rule of law. If you attack the police are not going to die with their guns on their waists. No, not to Nigerians. And I've said this before. Nigerians do not like the rule of law. It's not in them, and it's not something they even consider. It's not something they even think about. There is no such a thing as the rule of law in their eyes, in their being. So that is why it comes out easy for a Nigerian in a platform like Pub to say what he lied about. That barely 48 hours since landing, he saw 2 Nigerians being unalived by South African police. So in other words, what he's trying to say about South African police, they're crazy. They just go around looking for Nigerians and unaliving them. The same criminals that have been here since 2010, some of them even before 2010, others more after 2010. South African police unaliving Nigerians. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. That is why it is a blatant lie. And you know what I loved about all these accusations being thrown at South Africans? Cyril Ramaphosa was in there, being told flat on his face that you are xenophobic. It took one member of Pan-African Parliament to stand up, a South African, I think it's Dumsani, who said South Africans are not xenophobic. He stated his case very well. I mean, it's a case you and I already know. And I just told you we don't have refugee camps, so we have illegal foreigners and legal foreigners integrated into our communities, and we've been living together for over 30 years. He gave all the evidence. Do you think they were interested in hearing those evidence? No. And he said, there's an elephant in the room that the members of Pan-Africanism that have stood up and accused South Africa of xenophobia. And the elephant in the room is, what is it that is making your people run away from your countries? Oh, no, 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 no. When that question was asked, guess what happened to this member's mic? Boop, went off. The mic went off because even the Pan-African, chairperson, speaker, whatever the case is, they have this whole Pan-Africanism agenda, which is evil to South Africans, by the way. Pan-Africanism, as I was listening, I concluded that it is a ideology. The ideology itself, from Marcus Garvey, if I'm not mistaken about his name, it was a noble idea with the 5 pillars or 5 pointers. But the people that took it with them and ran to town with it it's like a broken telephone. If you don't know what a broken telephone is, it's a game that we used to play when we were kids, where you will whisper something to the person sitting next to you, and they must whisper the exact same words to the next person, and the next person does the same thing to the next person. By the time it gets somewhere in the middle or to the end of the telephone line, the message would be totally different. It will no longer be the same. So that's exactly what Pan-Africanism is to me. It's a broken telephone. You have opportunists that have nefarious ideas of their own, and they try and throw it in. Why? Because they look at their own countries and say, my country is a failure. But the biggest failure for me, it is me as a citizen of that country, because I'm hamstrung. I do not have the proper training or at least the talent to stand up and try and influence my countrymen and women to hold our leadership accountable. But no. Instead, they would defend the very same leaders and vote them back into power. But at the same time, after voting, they would pack their bags and come to South Africa. And then when they get to South Africa, they say there's no such a thing as an illegal foreigner on the African continent. And yet every African country on this continent have immigration laws. If I am an African, I can actually even challenge you. You're an African, go to any other African country right now without a passport. I want to see something. Go to Mozambique. So why must it be an exception to the rule when it comes to South African immigration? The moment South Africans are implementing and putting things in order when it comes to the immigration laws, suddenly Africa is up in arms, calling us names without any substantiation. No case. But when you say, listen, why are your people leaving your country? When your people leave your country, I'm going to speak for South Africa. If South Africans leave South Africa en masse for greener pastures elsewhere, that's a vote of no confidence on the government of the day. So you come and you want to hold another country accountable for your failure. And then when you get here, You try to psychoanalyze us, reverse psychology. You just play mind games and you think we are just going to roll over and play dead and not defend ourselves. Listen, South Africans are resilient people. You guys are going to learn that. Now, here's the thing I'm going to tell Pan-Africanists that are in that parliament. Whether you like it or not, your people are going home. They are going home and they are going to hold you accountable. You know why? Because they would have learned from us. Some, they won't care whether you kill them or you don't. They won't care. What they will care about is fixing their country, and you are afraid. So you want to beat us into submission by keeping your failure in South Africa. Sorry. No, we're not going to do that. We are not going to do, especially when you people don't know how to talk to South Africans. You speak to us as if we are these little children. We're not. And we are going to continue to show you, legally so. Your people are going back home. You huffed and puffed and thought you blew our house down. It did not happen. But one thing I liked again, Ramaphosa was there. He was receiving it all. I hope he got to sit down and calculate that next time when I'm dealing with my African counterparts, I must be as cold and heartless as they are because they keep peddling propaganda, even inside an institution like Pan-African Parliament. How are we supposed to build brotherhood and sisterhood on the continent when we have our so-called brothers and sisters that are wearing suits and pencil skirts with 6 inches stilettos lying through their teeth about South Africa? I hope you develop some balls, Mr. Ramaphosa, as you were listening to your counterparts who are liars. I know many African leaders that were there. Some of them did not approve of these false accusations. Tanzania, Rwanda, Malawi, Namibia. Yeah, I saw you. I saw you. You all wanted to talk about the push and pull factor of why your citizens are running away. Nigerians, Ghanaians, in fact, West African countries, with the exception of Ivory Coast, they don't want to understand that. They don't even want to talk about it. They want to force their citizens onto South Africa and any other African country that is developing down their throat, whether we like it or not. Otherwise, we are not Pan-Africanists. Pan-Africanism, and now it looks like Pan-Africanism, the idea, has found or developed itself an institution, Pan-African Parliament, that is now a tool or a weapon that they're now going to use against any country that is developing or developed on the African continent to accept illegality. Yeah, the word they understand so well. But because there's a rule of law that prohibits illegality, that part, no, we don't want to hear. We don't want to hear you have a rule of law. Can you imagine defending Nigerians in South Africa? That's a war you already lost. Or anywhere in the world, by the way. Police unaliving 2 Nigerians, they've done something. Our South African police service are not mad. They're just going to unalive people nilly-willy. They are also regulated by Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977, Section 49. Minimum force, maximum force. So for a South African police officer to unalive a Nigerian, cold, heartless Nigerian, there must have been a reason. Because there has to be a reason. And that reason must be justifiable. So now to take it to Pan-African Parliament and cry victim goes to show what kind of an anarchy your country is. I mean, Nigeria is anarchy. No rule of law. No rule of law. You can argue it until the moon turns blue. There's anarchy in Nigeria. And it's become a norm, and they want to normalize that here in South Africa. We must never allow it. That is why they are all going home. All of them. Whether you, as a Pan-African Parliament member or not, you must be ready to accept your people home. You are not going to force us to have people we don't want in our communities no more. I'm always of the view, when I was growing up, I used to say, well, if you are going to falsely accuse me and continue to falsely accuse me, I used to say, since I'm serving a sentence of a crime I did not commit, I might as well commit it. So if you're going to continue to call me xenophobic, Afrophobic, hating of black people, I might as well. I never was before, but now I might as well. I want to be accused of something that I know. So we don't want them in our community no more. You can't force us. We have constitutional rights and we have a constitution too. South Africa is a sovereignty. And if you cannot respect that, then take your people away. Instead of complaining and say, oh, the Nigerians are uncomfortable, then pack up and go. Why are you remaining in a country that you are uncomfortable in? Why? Make it make sense. I know logic is not a thing in Nigeria and Ghana. I've come to learn. It doesn't exist. Anyways, guys, I thought let me share this as I was listening and I'm thinking to myself, oh, so this is where we at. At least we are beginning to learn how Africans hate South Africans, particularly black South Africans, because that's the people they always focus on. Oh, when it comes to white South Africans, fellow South African whites, oh, they worship you. I told you this before. These people worship the ground you walk on. You could do no wrong in their eyes. They're just wondering, why haven't you done with us yet? Them, our so-called brothers and sisters. They are just wondering, why haven't you done with us? But you know why they think that way? Because they believe white South Africans love foreigners, especially illegal foreigners. I don't know what y'all did to them that makes them love you so much. But at the same time, whenever they get angry at us, they want us to unalive you, chase you like they did in their own respective countries when they were gaining independence. They don't understand that part. Why white people still in South Africa? They say we're even afraid of y'all. Can you imagine? But at the same time, they are bipolar. That's the point I'm trying to say. Anyways, let me leave this video right here. Please, whatever you do, enjoy your Friday. Keep warm. It's cold out there. Eastern Cape, ni right? Dintanda ufa. Just keep warm there. And yeah, I'll see you guys a little bit later. Goodbye.